You can finish the task, close the laptop, answer the messages, make it through the day, and still feel like something is missing, not from the room. The dishes might be done, the work might be submitted, the calendar might finally be quiet. But somewhere inside you, there is still a pressure, a small unfinished feeling. As if the day has ended on paper, but not inside your body. The light outside gets softer, the room cools down, your phone sits face down on the table, but your mind keeps reaching for one more thing. One more reply, one more improvement, one more sign that you are becoming the person you were supposed to be. And the strange part is, you may not even know what enough would look like anymore. You only know the feeling of not arriving there. Modern life does not only ask you to do things, it asks you to become evidence. Evidence that you are productive, evidence that you are improving, evidence that you are not wasting your potential. A normal day quietly becomes a performance. The morning is no longer just morning, it becomes a chance to start correctly. The afternoon is no longer just afternoon, it becomes a test of whether you stayed on track. The evening is no longer just evening, it becomes a mirror, asking what you have to show for the hours that disappeared. This is why doing enough never feels like enough. Because the finish line is no longer attached to the task in front of you. It is attached to an imagined version of you who is always slightly ahead. That version wakes earlier, works cleaner, responds faster, feels calmer, knows exactly what to do with life. And every time you measure your real life against that invisible person, your actual day feels like a late submission. The problem did not begin with you. For most of human history, enough was not always easy. But it was easier to see. A field was harvested, a meal was cooked, a roof was repaired before the rain came. The sun went down, and the body understood that something had ended. There was still hardship, there was still pressure, there was still fear, but the day had edges. Now the edges have dissolved. Work follows you through glass screens. People can reach you while you are lying in bed. A notification can pull your mind out of the dark at 11:43 p.m. when the room is silent and your body is trying to leave the day behind. The phone glows like a tiny office that never fully closes. Even rest has become something to compare. Someone somewhere is using the same hour better than you. Someone is learning faster, building more, healing better, moving forward with a discipline that seems almost unreal. And even if you know the image is edited, cropped, and incomplete, your nervous system still receives the message. Keep going, you are behind, do not fall out of the race. But this is where it becomes harder to notice. No one has to directly command you anymore. The pressure becomes internal. You carry it into quiet rooms, you bring it to dinner. You feel it while standing at the sink, while waiting for water to boil, while looking out a window with no immediate problem in front of you. A person can sit in complete stillness and still feel accused by the silence. At some point, the question changed. It was no longer, did I do what needed to be done today? It became, am I becoming enough as a person? And once that happens, every unfinished task becomes heavier than it should be. A late reply does not feel like a late reply. It feels like you are careless. A slow week does not feel like a slow week. It feels like your life is slipping behind. A tired morning does not feel like a tired morning. It feels like a flaw in your character. This is how modern pressure hides itself. It turns ordinary human limits into personal evidence. Your body asks for rest, but your mind hears weakness. Your attention asks for quiet, but your mind hears laziness. Your life asks for a slower rhythm, but your mind hears danger. This is why rest now feels suspicious. Not because rest is wrong, but because you were trained to treat stillness as lost time. A quiet afternoon can feel like theft. A slow walk can feel irresponsible. Even sleep can feel like something you must earn by proving that the day was not wasted. So you keep negotiating with your own exhaustion. Just one more thing, then I can stop. Just one more task, then I can relax. Just one more achievement, then I can finally feel okay. But the finish line moves again, not loudly, not dramatically, just far enough to keep you reaching. The real wound is not that you have too much to do. The real wound is that you no longer trust yourself when you stop. You can be tired and still feel guilty. You can be overwhelmed and still feel behind. You can be doing your best and still feel as if some invisible judge has not been satisfied. That is a heavy way to live. To wake up already owing the day something, to move through hours as if they are being counted against you, to lie down at night beside a list that never fully becomes silent. And maybe the hardest part is that from the outside, you may look fine. You reply, you show up, you keep functioning. You smile at the right times, you do what people expect. But inside, there is a private fatigue that does not come only from effort. It comes from never feeling released. It comes from finishing one thing and immediately seeing the outline of the next. Like walking through a hallway where every door opens into another hallway. No arrival, only continuation. No clear failure, but no clear peace either. Maybe the problem is not that you have failed to do enough. Maybe the problem is that enough was taken from the body and handed to the culture. Your body understands small forms of enough. Enough food, enough sleep, enough breath, enough warmth, enough silence to hear yourself again. But modern life teaches another kind. Enough success for people to respect you. Enough progress for you to stop questioning yourself. Enough visible improvement that no one can accuse you of falling behind. One kind of enough has a limit. The other never does. And when you live too long under the second kind, you begin to forget the first. You forget that a day can be complete without being impressive. You forget that a life can be real without turning itself into proof. You forget that some moments are allowed to exist without producing anything. A quiet room, a slow meal, a walk with no lesson at the end of it. A night where nothing is fixed, but nothing is demanded either. This does not mean responsibility disappears. It does not mean effort is meaningless. It means your worth cannot be measured only by how much more you can extract from yourself. You are not a machine that becomes valuable only when output increases. You are a human being moving through time with a body, a mind, a history, and limits that deserve to be heard before they become exhaustion. There will probably always be more to do. Another message, another plan, another version of yourself waiting somewhere in the distance. But maybe peace begins when you stop treating that distance as proof that you are failing. Maybe enough is not a place you finally reach after becoming perfect. Maybe enough is a boundary you slowly learn to recognize again. The moment the day has asked what it can reasonably ask. The moment your body tells the truth before your ambition edits it. The moment you sit in the quiet and do not immediately turn it into guilt. Because your life is not only the part that improves. It is also the part that breathes. The part that pauses. The part that watches light move across the wall while the world keeps rushing somewhere else. You may not finish everything today, but maybe today was never asking you to become endless. Maybe it was only asking you to be here. And being here, without proving anything for a moment, may be closer to enough than you were taught to believe. Maybe enough was never something you had to chase. Maybe it was something your life was quietly asking you to stop running past.